welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to have a Doodle With Me video today. So I actually have the actual drawing I'm going to doodle today as a printable linked in the description below, so you can pause this video, go print that, and doodle with me. So for this doodle with me, I have two different printables that you will find in the link in the description. One is my page with the lettering I've done and empty space around it, and one with the lettering I've done and all the doodles around it. So depending on what you like, you can either color the doodles I've drawn or doodle your own with me. So I hope you find this fun and relaxing and enjoyable, and just if you decide to do the one where you doodle yourself, just do whatever makes you happy and whatever is fun for you to doodle, and it doesn't really matter whatever you do, just as long as you enjoy it. So today I have a few Q&A questions to answer for you guys. If you guys have any questions for me, I'd love to see them, and you can put them in the comments below so I can answer those next time. So the first question is, how did you learn to letter? So that's a pretty good question. Lettering has always been something that, I enjoy. When I first started out lettering, the thing that really got me started was I bought a calligraphy pen. And I just found this $5 calligraphy pen at an art fair, at a convention. No, at a art booth at a convention. So I got the calligraphy pen and I got a notebook, and I was really excited to start. So I just filled pages and pages with words trying to make them pretty. I didn't even know what it was supposed to look like really, or what I was trying to do. I just wanted to make it pretty. One thing I did do though was found people like my mom and my cousins to write words in my notebook really well. And then I would copy it. I'd say, "Can you write my name really pretty on the top of this page?" And then I would just over and over and over copy it and copy it and copy it and figure out how they wrote it, because I really liked it, especially my name being written pretty. I mean, everybody likes their name written pretty. So that was where I started with lettering, and then I found a brush pen, because the one I was using before was like a chisel tip, so it didn't bend. But what I had was when I got a next pen, it was a brush pen, and it can make small lines and thick lines depending on how much you press down on it. And that one changed everything, because you could do a lot of hand lettering, so like up, lightly, and then down, pressing hard, thick, something. And that was so fun for me. There was a lady who went to my homeschool community who had a lettering business and basically made all of these designs and things with pretty letters, and I was so inspired by her. Her business is now closed because has kids and is homeschooling them, but I really love to look at her art and to copy them and to color on her coloring pages and copy those. So basically how I learned to letter was a lot of copying and imitating, and that's how I learned most of my things. Imitation is key. So hand lettering is a very easy way to start with calligraphy anything. Hand lettering is basically the beginner way to do calligraphy, and it's my favorite way to do anything words pretty. Anyways, so basically a simple how-to on how to start hand lettering. What I like to do is I start off by writing the word in like basic cursive and just one line. I don't worry about thickness levels or anything. So I do that first, and so I write my word, and then whenever you're doing hand lettering, you go up with a thin line and then down with a thick line. So I go back and trace the word and see, oh, it's going down, so I make it thick and then go up and don't draw and then thick, and I go back and add the other thick lines that go on the downstrokes. And so it's a really easy way to not worry about maneuvering your pen while you're actually writing your word, and I think it's a really easy way to get started. One of my doodling tips is to use a thicker pen to do your doodling with. I think it makes it look so much smoother and cleaner than using a fine tip pen, because if you use a fine tip one, I think it's a lot easier to see the small details. When you're just doodling, you don't really need the details of maybe your hand shook a little bit and it looks a little messy. That's my opinion at least, but it's helpful if you have a thicker pen. I'm using a 0.8mm pen, or if you have a marker, those are generally thicker than maybe a ballpoint pen. So, helpful hint if you want to make your doodles look a little cleaner. So the second question is, what is your favorite thing to draw? Now that's a pretty good question. I really like to draw characters. I love finding pictures of people on Pinterest and stuff, and just finding something that looks pretty or has a fun design and drawing those characters and trying to make them a little bit cartoon or drawing them just like they look realistic. And I also have loved drawing flowers and plants. That is one of my favorite things to just doodle everywhere. Plants, little flowers, I love doing that. And lettering, I really like hand lettering. I think one thing I love about the flowers is how you can make them similar but different, and how easy it is to just come up with so many different flowers because there are so many different flowers out there. But I really love to do that. And the same with faces, I think. There's so many different faces you can draw. So faces, flowers, and plants. Those are what I love to draw. Oh, I've also had a cactus phase where I drew only cactuses and had 27 cactuses and cacti and succulents at home. And yeah, I had a cactus phase. So you may have noticed I'm not using any pencil or outline for my whole piece. Well, I'm not just going out of my head. I did have a plan. So one thing I think that's helpful if you're doing a lettering picture or drawing is if you plan it out first. So what I did was on my iPad, I hand lettered just really rough the words I planned on putting on the page and a rough outline of where I wanted flowers. So what this helped me do was actually plan out how big they needed to be on the page and where I wanted to lay them out. So whenever I went back to do it on my official page, the real page, I had more of an idea of I need to start up here and make them smaller, or this word is going to be the biggest of the words. Anyways, so if you have an iPad or a scrap piece of paper or a sticky note, I recommend planning out what you're going to do. Just very basic, rough sketch. That way, whenever you get to your page, you can just go for it with a pen. Anyways, what type of art did you start with? Paint or drawing or whatever? Okay, so how did I start off with my art? Basically, I loved drawing as a kid. I mean, as most kids do, with markers and colored pencils and things like that, just coloring to your heart's content. But I did that mostly as like, kid drawing with that stuff, and whenever I was about 12, I started really getting into coloring and drawing, and what really got me started was drawing kawaii characters with pins and colored pencils. And I would find kawaii characters on Pinterest and copy them. Sometimes I would trace them. I had a light box where it's light and then you put your picture on it, and then you can put a page over it and see the lines and trace it. That was my favorite. I spent hours drawing kawaii characters whenever I was 12 and 13, and that's really what got me started into this new phase of drawing that moved on from my childhood years of coloring and drawing and stuff. But that's really what got me started, and then I would watercolor. I had loved watercolor after the kawaii phase, and watercolor moved to acrylic, and that moved to digital art, and now I'm kind of everywhere. I like all the stuff. Oil painting, gouache, acrylic, digital, sketching. I just like it. The next question is, why did you decide to start a YouTube channel? So this is a good question. There's many different reasons someone might start a YouTube channel, but one of the main reasons I wanted to start one was to share my passion of creating, because it's really like my biggest passion in life, one of my biggest passions in life, to create, and just to share that is so amazing. And it's also a really fun creative outlet to be able to create videos. It's an art in itself, and so that is really fun. And also, there's something about maintaining consistency on a YouTube channel that helps me keep accountable to keep creating art. Like, I can't just drop off with this. I mean, I could, but I don't want to. And so that helps me maintain accountability for actually continuing to create. And then maybe one day I hope that possibly this YouTube channel could help me raise support for going to art school, but right now I'm just having fun. So after you've been doodling for a while and you've kind of run out of ideas on what to do, but you still have quite a bit of empty page left, what do? Well, I have a hack for this. My hack is find something small. I like doing little flowers, and I don't change it up at all. I just put little flowers in all the rest of the blank space on the page, and it looks so nice to fill in those empty spots and clean it up and make it a full picture that is full of doodles, and you're like, wow, that's so many doodles. Anyways, so I hope that helps you if you're having trouble filling your page. Thank you guys so much for doodling with me. This was really fun to just draw some flowers and some pretty words. I'd love for you guys to, again, leave me some comments below of questions you have for me so I can answer them for you guys next time. And I'll see you guys next time.